Hello all and welcome to All Red. We've got a big video for you today. We are going to look at the 6 players Liverpool could sell in the summer to fund arneslot's revolution. And I've got Aaron here. Aaron lad from London. Aaron, how you feeling, brother?
Good, mate. Yeah, just looking forward to seeing what the feedback is from the fans on this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a hot topic, I think. With the transfer window closing and Liverpool not spending anything once again, we look ahead now to the summer of 2025. Let's start, Aaron, with numero uno. It's Kostas Tsimikas, I think, sold for 10 million. And by the way, just for all of you watching, we are not saying that we want to get rid of these players, right? We're not saying that we don't like these players. This is, why do I have these on? I'm taking these off. We are just saying like this could happen in the summer and it could fund Arne Slot bringing in the players that he wants at the club. So with that in mind, Kostas Tsimikas for 10 million, leaving the club. He will be 29 years old this summer and he has 2 years left on his contract. You know, that's probably a fair price for Tsimikas, who has, been a great kind of backup at Liverpool behind Andy Robertson, who, by the way, is also on this list. Aaron, what do you think about Robbo and Tsimikas leaving in the summer?
Yeah, I think Tsimikas is just not quite good enough, is he? I think, he seems a little bit calamitous at times. He's one of them ones that makes costly mistakes. I think you get players that make mistakes and get away with it, but Tsimikas, I think, just sometimes can just look a bit rash. And I think, do you know what? If we want to be considered as a top team, we basically need to be replacing Andy Robertson, who arguably has been in world football, has been one of the best left backs in world football for a considerable amount of time.
Absolutely.
That's an area we really need to strengthen, and I think you're right, Sam. I think possibly them 2 positions need strengthened with 2 good, young, up-and-coming left-backs.
Yeah, agreed. Tsimikas, I think, has been a very serviceable backup, but like you said, I don't think he's good enough, and the age profile is not good enough for him to basically become the number 1 should Andy Robertson leave. So if both of those guys leave, that's currently 25 million in the bank for Richard Hughes and co. to go out and spend. Let's look at the next one. Yes, it is Alisson Becker. Now, I think Aaron and I both agree. Alisson is still a very, very good goalkeeper. He's still one of the top goalkeepers in Europe, but he's getting up there in age. He's currently 32. Having some injury issues, having issues staying on the field for Liverpool. And with the Mamardashvili purchase last summer and with Quaven Kelleher, I don't know, Aaron. I love Alisson, club legend. Same with Robertson, club legend. Is it time to move on from Alisson?
Listen, my views on Alisson are, he's amazing. He's such a good goalkeeper, and I think he does better with the goals conceded against PSV last night. I think Alisson does better. Mm-hmm. But yes, his injury record is not great for a goalkeeper. And actually, I think Liverpool could be looking at the age profile and maybe a bid from somewhere like Saudi for Alisson at the end of the season where, do you know what? Go and do the next 3 or 4 years in a bit of luxury, earning big wages. And we bring in a goalkeeper who's 6'6" and is a monster in the Spanish league to compete with, arguably, a top goalkeeper already in Quaven Kelleher. Now, I'm not too sure where that goes, but it's good, healthy competition between Kelleher and Mamardashvili initially to say, right, go and show me who's number 1. And I think that would be really, really good and healthy for the club. I still think we could bring money in for Alisson. So that's the way I see that, Sam.
Yeah, you could that 20 million could be much higher, right? If Saudi comes in and says we want him at all costs, right? We're going to pry him away from any other European club, so that number could be higher. And there's been rumors of that happening in the past year or so. So, all right, so those 3. Let's look at the next one. That we're ordering these based on least value to highest. So we've got some bigger numbers coming up here. Now we're getting into some serious money. selling Diogo Jota for 45-ish million. Contract expires in 2026. So you're seeing a pattern here. We got a lot of players who are, this summer will have a year left on their contract. Jota will be 28 this summer, and 45 million for really, really good striker, really good finisher. But again, same issue here as Alisson. We all know that Diogo Jota cannot stay fit. And, my hope is that he can come back, maybe get the last 2 to 3 months of the season consistently on the field so that, there is a market there for him come the summer, Aaron.
Yeah, I think Jota has had 4 or 5 injuries this season already, and we're just past halfway in the season. I think he come into the season injured straight away.
Yep.
I love Jota, and I know this is going to cause a bit of a stir in the comments. Some of these choices will definitely cause a bit of a stir, and it's not saying we want them gone or anything like that, but these would be players that are less available but still hold some form of price tag, which would be really beneficial to the club to replace.
Yeah.
And I just think you're right. Jota just can't stay fit. I love him. He would be my number one choice as a striker.
Yeah.
But that availability is a killer.
Yep. And I think it ultimately comes down to Arne Slot working alongside of Richard Hughes, and probably Arne Slot giving Hughes a list of, hey, these players, they're great, but they're not in my future plans. What can we get for them? I think Arne Slot is going to be very involved now that he's proved his worth as a coach and a manager. I think he's going to be very involved with Richard Hughes and saying, we can sell these players, and here's who, the types of players, or here's a list of players that I would love to have at the club. The next one on this list, Aaron, it does break my heart, and I kind of wish that it wouldn't happen, and I don't know if it's going to, but Darwin Núñez, he's been the subject of rumors this winter, potentially going to Saudi. I don't think that's going to happen now. His contract expires in 2028. He's 25 years old. So, very, very friendly terms for Liverpool as the club. And Darwin Núñez, for all of the vitriol that he's gotten from the Liverpool fan base and outside of the Liverpool fan base, I think he still holds a decent amount of value, because I think, other people are going to look in and see the potential there and might think, well, maybe he does it for us, right? Maybe he figures it out at our club. But Darwin Núñez, for me, again, he's one of my favorite players. I love watching him play. I love the heart. I love the effort. The finished product just hasn't been there, even though I think his numbers are probably better than people actually realize when they watch him on the field. I'd still love to believe that Arne Slot can fix him and use him, but if not, that's probably around 50 million in the bank, and now we're up to 140 million, kind of sitting in that bank account, if you will. Thoughts on this one, Aaron?
Just hasn't worked for Darwin, I don't think. I think, there was high hopes for him coming in, and we've seen what he was like for Benfica, and everybody watched that game between Liverpool and for Benfica where he tore Liverpool to shreds.
Yeah.
And it was the game where Klopp was like, that's the guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy. He scored some unreal goals, and I know a lot of them were offsides and what have you. I think he walked out with 1 goal in the end, but he put the ball in the back of the net 4 times.
Yep.
And I was like, this guy is unreal. And it was all of the comparisons to Haaland when he first come in. Yeah. We just haven't seen that materialise.
Yep.
Now, people don't give him enough credit, I don't believe, for his work rate. He's a very hard worker, but he just isn't a number 9. He doesn't give you what a number 9. Listen, if he played in that number 10 role, because he's good at the little flick-ons and stuff like that, and someone like Jota played in front of him in that 4-2-3-1 system, I mean, that could work, but we're just not seeing the goals from him. And I think ultimately that's his job, and he's not doing his job, in my opinion.
Yep. Next on the list, Lucho Diaz. Again, he's kind of been the subject of some rumors, maybe going to Barcelona or going back to Spain. Probably the highest valued player on this list. He is going to be 28 in the summer, and he will have 2 years left on his contract. But 70-ish million, I think, is a fair price for Luch. And I think there would be some clubs lining up if they knew he was available. That puts us up to 210 million, Aaron. That is a very, very healthy transfer purse. And, this is, I know it's not pound for pound. I know it's not apples to apples, but if you add in roughly maybe the profits from the Champions League this year, which currently I think they're at 80 million, but then you add in all the expenses and all the stuff from there. By the end of our Champions League campaign, that might be close to the profit from Champions League, which we did not have last year, of course. And then you've got 290 million-ish from all of this stuff kind of coming together. By the way, we haven't really spent anything in the past year or year and a half as well on top of that. So what are FSG, Richard Hughes, Arne Slot planning for this summer? Should some of this or all of this happen, Aaron, it could be one of the biggest summers as far as ins and outs go in Liverpool history.
Yeah, I think it needs to be some. I don't necessarily agree. I think 70 million for Diaz in terms of ability is right. In terms of output, I think he's not a 70 million pound player. He's got so much ability, his tenacity, the way he runs with the ball and stuff like that, Sam. He is exceptional on the ball and his work rate is phenomenal. I just think he's just a bit careless and a bit casual at times and very rash. He's a little bit like Darwin at times with his finishing. Seems to lash at it. Doesn't quite place it in the in the top corner like a Robbie Fowler or even a Salah. Salah's got that kind of trademark finish, hasn't he? Cuts in, whips it in the top corner. He just doesn't have that finesse in his finishing. And I think Diaz, if he can work on that finishing, because he come again very, very like Darwin from the Portuguese league on high goal numbers. Yeah, him and Nunes were the top goal scorers in Portugal when they came in. We just haven't seen that level of consistency in terms of finishing.
Agreed, mate. Well, as always, let us know what you think in the comments. Let's have a civil discussion about this. Obviously, we don't know if this is going to happen. Any of this is going to happen. Mere speculation, but potential stuff that could happen in the summer for Arne Slot, as we believe he is going to start to put his mark on this team. Let us know what you think. And as always, guys, it's always up the Reds.